everybody. My name is Dr. Scott Giacomucci. I'm the director and founder of the Phoenix Center for Experiential Trauma Therapy in Media, Pennsylvania. I'm board certified in clinical social work and psychodrama, and I'm an experiential therapy trainer and educator. I'm really excited that you found this video, and I hope that you find it helpful in your work. This is part of an ongoing video series highlighting my recently published book, Social Work, Sociometry, and Psychodrama, Experiential Approaches for Group Therapists, Community Leaders, and Social Workers. In this video series, we'll be going through the book chapter by chapter to articulate some of the content of the book, to warm you up to the book perhaps, or to help you further understand, process, and digest the content and the processes that are outlined in this book. If you haven't already gotten a copy of the book, you can download it for free online at Springer Nature's website, the publisher, or on Amazon through their ebook platform. If you do find the book helpful, I would be incredibly grateful if you considered leaving an Amazon review, an honest Amazon review about the book, so that we can help reach future audiences. So in this video, we're going to be exploring Chapter 6 in the book, Psychodrama and Social Work Theory. So I'm going to go through a handful of the core theories within the psychodramatic system. Before watching this video, it probably would be helpful to check out the video I made focusing on Chapter 4, Psychodrama Philosophy, which really will provide a foundation for understanding some of the theories in this video. So, psychodrama. Psychodrama. Many people think that it's not the best name, and there actually was a movement to try to change the name more recently into action methods or something different. Moreno really chose the term psychodrama to highlight it as the psyche or the soul in action. Psychodrama, soul, psyche in action. He defined psychodrama as a science which explores the truth by dramatic methods. So, psychodrama is essentially a method that uses role-playing techniques in addition to other interventions such as role reversal and doubling and mirroring, interviewing, to externalize internal experiences so that they can be changed, to put into action and explore social situations so that we can better understand them, or practice responding to situations that we might find ourselves in the future. Psychodrama is an experiential method, which means it's more than talking. We use action and role-playing. And it's about working towards resolution of psychosocial problems. Psychodrama is a psychotherapy, and it's much, much more than just psychotherapy. Psychodrama is used in businesses and organizations. It's used as a form of activism. It's used as experiential education. It's used in religious communities, in community work, in politics, in theater, in research. Psychodrama is much broader than just a group psychotherapy, and it can also be used in individual work. Defining psychodrama is sometimes difficult because it's so comprehensive. Moreno in the past defined psychodrama in many different ways. Initially, he defined it as a theology, as a mystical tradition in the 1920s. He later defines it as a dramatic art form. In the 50s, he describes it as a socio-political system, as a method of psychotherapy. He describes it as a research method, and he even goes on to describe it as a philosophy for life. So there's many different definitions for psychodrama. One of the unique aspects of psychodrama is that not only is it action-based, but psychodrama allows us to put into action scenes that we might need to experience for healing, for learning, for growth. there's really no limits to where we could go in a psychodrama, what we could do. We can provide clients with experiences that might be impossible otherwise. Psychodrama is based on the premise that because we're wounded in action, that the healing must also take place in action. That talking about it often is simply not enough. That prior to all verbal language, human beings engage in gesturing, in action, in nonverbal communication, and that the action-oriented aspects of psychodrama might be more congruent with the developmental timeline of how human beings develop and how our communication develops. A prominent psychodramatist, John Nolte, writes in one of his books, which I highly recommend. He writes that the hidden dynamics of our behavior are better brought to view in action than in words, because acting is closer to the deeper levels of that which is unconscious than language. So there's certainly an aspect of free association involved in role-playing, and spontaneous role-playing particularly. Psychodrama is the first body-oriented therapy. And here's where we find a connection to psychodrama and social work, in that social work really emphasizes a biopsychosocial and spiritual approach, and psychodrama integrates all aspects of that into one. That it's activating the biological by involving the body and the nervous system in our interventions. It's looking at psychodynamics through psychodrama and the externalization of internal parts of self and feelings. It's contextually based within the group and the social, the person within their environment, with an emphasis on sociometry. And psychodrama originated from a mystical tradition, a spiritual philosophy, which underlies all of psychodrama's interventions, methods, and approaches. Psychodrama is entirely based on spontaneity. So if you listen to the previous Chapter 4 video, you'd remember that spontaneity is defined as this energy that allows us to have an adequate response to new situations and new responses to old situations. Psychodrama is about training spontaneity, tapping into spontaneity, removing barriers to spontaneity. And that goes not only for barriers of spontaneity externally, but also internal barriers to spontaneity, helping individuals cultivate, develop, and access new responses to reoccurring internal situations. Psychodrama really emphasizes the here and now, and emphasizing the principles acting as if. So, on the psychodrama stage, everybody acts as if the role-playing is actually taking place in real life. We pretend. We sacrifice ourselves to the role-play. We give ourselves to it. We act as if it's actually happening in the here and now. Because of this, my judgment, I guess it's a judgment, my professional judgment, is that when we fully warm up to a psychodrama and act as if it's happening, that the body, the nervous system, the psyche experiences it as a real experience rather than just as a role play. Which would mean that psychodramatic experiences, role-playing experiences, have the power to correct, to modify, to repair the brain and mind from past negative experiences. The neuroscientists have highlighted the most important neuroscience finding of the century, being that the brain maintains its neuroplasticity throughout the entire lifespan, meaning that the brain changes based on experience throughout one's entire life. And that my judgment is that psychodrama experiences allow us to create changes in the brain, to create changes within the self, to provide experiences that would be impossible otherwise. That within the surplus reality of the psychodrama stage, there are infinite possibilities. We can revisit moments in the past. We can create a vision of the future and step into it. We can practice and train for future situations that we might be involved in. We can step back into our dreams and experience our dreams and explore our dreams. We can externalize parts of ourselves and look at the relationships between all the parts of ourselves. We can have a conversation with God. We can have a conversation with loved ones that have died, with our ancestors, or with future descendants in our family lineage. There's really no limits to where we can go in psychodrama. So, psychodrama's action theory really focuses on the importance of action, of the experiential approaches. Within action theory, there's a couple concepts, one of which is called an act hunger. So act hunger is this psychodramatic term that describes the craving, the feeling within someone to take action in a specific way. So for example, when you signed on to YouTube, you had an act hunger to learn something new. Maybe you had an act hunger to learn specifically about psychodrama, which led you to this video. Maybe you had an act hunger for something else, which was fulfilled and satisfied, and then this video popped up and you clicked on it because it created a new act hunger for you. So act hungers emerged from unrealized, unfulfilled dreams, goals, roles, thoughts, or emotions. Can emerge from role demands that we experience put on us by others. Act hungers can develop through the warming up process as we start to warm up to new actions. Now, when we satisfy an act hunger, we would call this an act completion, that we've completed an act that we were hungry to do earlier, and that we no longer have that act hunger in the same way. So psychodrama offers us the opportunity to satisfy act hungers in a safe way, and to satisfy some of the act hungers that we might never be able to fulfill in real life. There's certainly dreams, goals, hopes that extend beyond the limits of our reality, the limits of what's probable or likely for us to experience in our life. Psychodrama allows us to expand beyond that, to transcend it, and to experience act completions for these things anyway. Now, in the process of engaging in a psychodrama, the free association that comes with role-playing, the action, the bringing our whole body into the process, we often experience what are called action insights. And so this would be basically a function of spontaneity, and it often precedes emotional catharsis, which we'll talk about shortly. Action insights are insights that come to us while we're in action, as simple as that. Insights that we probably wouldn't have gotten to just by sitting and thinking about something, or sitting and talking about something. But that the holistic approach, the action itself, brought us to new insights that we wouldn't have gotten to otherwise. Peter Kellerman, a prominent psychodramatist, he defines action insights as the integration of emotional, cognitive, imaginary, behavioral, and interpersonal learning experiences all into one. Now, there's lots of other psychology and social work theories that really support the psychodrama and also support action theory. Many psychologists have been highlighting connections between action and emotion, which really validates the use of action methods, including psychodrama. Even the etymology of the word emotion, which means energy in motion, or to stir up, to move out. Our emotions really prime us for action. Our feelings and emotions are feelings of wanting to do something, wanting to engage in some sort of experience. Our emotions move us and our body into action. And so this connection really supports the use of psychodrama and other action methods. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd really invite you to like this video and perhaps subscribe to the channel so you can receive updates about future videos. Again, it would really go a long way in helping the book reach future readers if you considered leaving an Amazon review for the book, an honest review. I would greatly appreciate that. And I'm really interested in connecting with you and hearing how this video was for you, how it was helpful, how it challenged you, what you think may have been missing, other connections between psychodrama and social work that I didn't articulate that you're noticing. Go ahead and put that in the comments section here, and we'll begin a discussion and dialogue together. And feel free to also suggest future videos for the channel. I'm really interested in what you would like to learn more about. As long as it's within the scope of my competence, I'm happy to consider creating a video on that for you. So again, I encourage you to check out some of the other videos on this page and stay connected.